What's going on, guys? Prestige here, back again with another Call of Duty video. So I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw this TikTok asking, when is the next great FPS or battle royale shooter coming out? So as a lot of people know, multiplayer games such as Call of Duty or FPS or Warzone or a battle royale have been dominating the multiplayer scene. A lot of people are wondering, when is the next great multiplayer FPS shooter coming out? My honest thought about this is I don't think we will be seeing the next great FPS shooter come out until we get X Defiant. When Warzone came out in 2020, everybody fell in love with it instantly, especially peak quarantine. People were having fun, people were loving it. It was a great time to be a Call of Duty fan, at least. It looked like Call of Duty was the king of multiplayer shooters again. Since 2020 came out, a lot of shooters have attempted to come out, and a lot of these shooters unfortunately become free. And free games are awesome, absolutely, but there's a problem with it. The one problem with free games is that if the game is not good, people feel like they have no reason to keep playing the game. You didn't spend any money on the game, and then when it's terrible, you're like, okay, whatever, it's a free game. So I'm not really gonna play it, whatever, I can just go back to Call of Duty. In my opinion, that is what's wrong with coming out with free games, is that there's no investment that you made. I like when there are free games, absolutely. It means that pretty much everybody can try it for themselves and give their honest feedback on it. A lot of times with these paid games, you will get people who bought it and said that they like it just because they have bought it. And so today, I kind of just want to talk to you guys about the free games and what happened to them that were supposed to be the COD killers. Okay, let's start off with the latest quote-unquote COD killer in the finals. Finals was a great game, absolutely. But the problem with it is that it relied on too much teamwork. When these first-person shooters come out, a lot of people are just going to be playing solo. And so when you require a team to have fun with it, that's when it becomes hard to play. Let's look at Call of Duty, for example. I'm having fun right now just quickscoping and playing by myself, not really having a worry at all. Now, yes, playing by yourself can get boring at times, and so I'll hop on like a Fortnite to play with some more friends just because that's what the games they like. But for the most part, I'll be playing games by myself like COD, and I have a great time. And in the finals, you have to have teamwork in order to pretty much have fun. Some games can capitalize on this, as such in Overwatch. Overwatch capitalizes it on like having to have a good team in order to have fun. There are perks and downfalls of that, obviously. If you've ever played it, you know that if you have one bad healer or one bad tank, it can ruin your whole game. So when a free multiplayer game such as the finals comes out and it's an FPS and it's supposed to be a team game, a lot of people are going to have a hard time finding their friends and convincing their friends to get it. So in my opinion, that's why the finals failed in it being a free-to-play game. Another game that maybe could have been the COD killer was Splitgate. Splitgate was personally my favorite out of this like time where games are becoming free. If you have never played Splitgate before, Splitgate is pretty much if Portal met Halo. That is the best way I can describe it. And it was fun, you know, it was futuristic, so you can fly around on the jetpacks. I thought the jetpacks they did really well. It kind of reminded me a lot of how Black Ops 3 was. Splitgate failed because the devs didn't think it would be that big of a hit. A lot of people were spending times in queue waits instead of playing the game, and it ultimately made people turn off the game. And if you listen to any of the previous Splitgate like devs talk about the game, they always talked about how they didn't have enough servers for the amount of support it was getting. In this age of TikTok and social media, you have to realize that more and more people are wanting to be content creators and wanting to play something fun. And so when TikTok caught wind of it and people were wanting to do something other than play Call of Duty all day, they picked up Splitgate thinking it'd be fun. And everybody that I talked to that had played it thought the game was extremely fun. But the only downside is they were spending more times in the queue lobbies than they were actually playing the game. I remember there being a meme going around about Splitgate that was like, oh, I got into the servers, never turning off my console again. And so when you have like memes like that going around, it's hard for a game to continue to live and survive. So unfortunately, I hate to do this, but for me, it feels like the devs really have let down both the finals and Splitgate. Now, I do remember a couple of other free-to-play games coming out that were multiplayer and like Battle Royale, but they just, to me, really never stuck out. In my opinion, the only free-to-play game that will beat out Call of Duty as the FPS king will be the game X Defiant. Now, when I played X Defiant, I had a really good time. I know it was just during the weekend beta, but I mean, I still had a very good time on it. The game felt familiar, the game felt like it was interesting, and yes, it was like it was more of a team style game, but it didn't feel that way at all. I know it's gonna sound like I have no friends, but during that weekend, I didn't tell any of my friends to get on it. I was just having fun. I remember going around just like red gunning just because I didn't really understand how the sniper felt. I remember that weekend I was just going around red gunning simply because I didn't know if I liked to snipe in this game yet. The only problem I have with X Defiant right now is the fact that it was a beta last year and we still have gotten no news pretty much regarding when is it going to come out. For the most part, I don't really care when the game's going to come out. I'm excited to play it when it does come out. I just think that right now, for how long X Defiant is coming out, the only thing I'm truly worried about the game is that it will lose how popular it was in the beta due to it being so long to come out. In my opinion, it should have came out this year because a lot of people were saying that Call of Duty was dying and last year's COD did not really sell well at all. People regard Call of Duty MW2 2022 as the worst Call of Duty of all time. So they kind of missed the mark there. But other than that, I still am really excited for the game to come out. There's a couple of reasons why I'm excited for the game to come out. The main reason is because this game is made by former COD dev team players. These are the game developers that brought you Call of Duty Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, and I think some of them even worked on Black Ops 2. And so, although those games weren't regarded as the best Call of Duties of all time, besides Black Ops 2, what those games did have in common were the maps were amazing. Or I should say, at least, Advanced Warfare's maps were amazing. And so, with us getting a lot of the same developers back, we're used to these types of style of games. And I do believe that if X Defiant does come out soon, it's going to have a hard time competing with Call of Duty. Call of Duty is always going to have the fan base to carry the game, and so a lot of people will play it. But if X Defiant can do what I think it can, and a lot of people's hopes that X Defiant will be, Call of Duty will no longer be the FPS king. It will have to compete with a free-to-play game. And to me, that's awesome. I want a team to compete with Call of Duty. I think we've been sitting around so long where Call of Duty really can't really compete with anyone else. In Call of Duty's eyes, they are the best, so why put out anything new and exciting? And that, to me, is part of the problem why Call of Duty is hurting right now. There is nobody to compete with. Hopefully, X Defiant can bring that out in them. Because at one time, I remember Call of Duty never missing. And from what I remember, everybody was loving X Defiant as well. I think FaZe Jev was probably the biggest fan. FaZe Jev was absolutely the biggest fan of it. You know, he was always posting content on it, and he was just making everybody aware that this game will compete with Call of Duty when it comes out. So overall, I'm really excited for how the future years are going to be for FPS shooters, especially if X Defiant comes out. I think it can really put a challenge to Call of Duty and making Call of Duty work a little bit harder. With that being said, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Will Call of Duty always be the FPS king? In my eyes, I think they will be overthrown soon by free-to-play game in X Defiant. But other than that, I don't see really anybody else touching Call of Duty status. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe, as it would mean the world to me. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.